I don't know how to start this video, but we're working on a bunch of right now. So, what do we got, John?
We got the SST back, finally. Thank you to Drew.
Yeah, huge shout out to Drew from Shop Hellcats. We tortured him with this thing, getting this thing dialed in, but he did get it dialed in with the 8-speed, so.
We drove it back yesterday, 2 hours, fine.
Let's insert a couple of little ripskis here.
Yeah.
So here's the SST with an unknown driver ripping it.
Yeah, first drive.
Running decent. Give her a little pepper.
That's not bad. Alright.
Hey, check it out, boys. Huge shout out to Drew at Shop Hellcats. We just got here with the Eco Diesel. We're here with the SST. We're gonna drive this thing on its maiden voyage back to the shop. All right, so we're back from that. We got Dennis over here. He's helping out.
Yeah.
And what else we're doing to this is, what is it? 1 day, right?
Yeah,
we got 1 day.
We got 1 day pretty much.
So me and John have been running around on the side, behind the scenes, getting all kinds of stuff. So I went to the junkyard, tried to pull one of these off, got frustrated because all the bolts were seized. And I managed to come back with the harness, but then the harness was missing a pin. We got the harness for the front. Me and Dennis installed it, but the brake controller is bad. So that's not confusing enough. We went and found another hitch. The guy pulled it off for 50 bucks with the hardware. I dusted it so it's looking brand new. So this is a factory OEM Dodge hitch. So it's gonna bolt right up. It's rated for 10,000 pounds because this puppy
I'm driving in.
is towing that thing out there. And if you guys notice, it's out there. And what, it drove out there?
Yeah, it drove
Under its own power. That thing moved itself way out there, so I'll probably show you guys that.
Show them the burnout. This thing's sick.
No.
This burnout.
All right, you have a clip, right? All right, let's insert that clip right here. Alright, so it's probably the lamest burnout ever.
It works.
One wheel peel, the mark's still over there, but at least it's moving under its own power. Still got a ton of stuff to burn out. Hopefully burn out. Ton of stuff to knock out on that truck, but we need to be able to get it there. We're not really doing a whole lot with that at the show, but this has to drive, what, 10 hours there and back?
Yeah.
So we're just going through everything, making sure everything's good. You found a blown shock. So we saw an oil leak in the front and we just assumed that it was the crack hawk, but it wasn't the crack hawk, it was the shock hawk. So this shock, it's the original shock probably, and it was just leaking oil onto the ground. You can see it here. So can't really ask too much from it. I mean, these shocks are a million years old, but both of them are extremely wet. So we're gonna try and maybe get a couple shocks in the front, but if not, John ain't scared. He ain't scared of a couple blown shocks. Let's go. It actually drives surprisingly decent. You would never know that it has a blown shock driving it, but anyways, so we're under here. Let's get this trailer hitch on and we'll see what else we get into. Literally 10 minutes later, as Dennis says. That's pretty decent. So factory hitch, rated for 10,000 pounds with weight distribution, 5,000 weight carrying. So anyways, decent little hitch. It's got all the factory hardware and it bolts up directly to the frame. So now we're good to tow. Let's see what we get into next. Okay, so we figured it's probably not a bad idea to repack these front bearings. So we do have all brand new front suspension stuff for this, but we're not gonna put it on just yet because then we would have to put it all on, take for an alignment. We have 1 day until we have to leave. So these are the older style bearings. Some people prefer these because you can actually service these, but they're not a cartridge style. So we can actually take this apart, get the bearings out, repack them, and put it all back together. So since this grease is like 1,000,000 years old, it's probably not a bad idea. Yeah, it's like almost like look at that.
Crusty.
That's like caramel. Can't even, yeah, it's like caramelized. So we'll repack it and then we'll have some fresh grease for the road. All right, this is turning into more than what we expected. Look at the grease, you guys. So inside there, our inner bearing won't come off because it is just like caramelized all of the grease in there. So probably a good thing we're doing this, even though it's a pain in the ass. But yeah, I gotta pick off the grease because that bearing cannot scrape this off to come out of there. All right, we got it off, you guys. Look at that. Look at that grease, or was grease. This thing has sat around forever. So we're gonna clean all this up, repack it.
What are you doing?
It's our, what did Dennis call our hobo freight parts cleaner. So we've got a bunch of gas in here and it's dissolving this grease. Look at that. Because it is just caramelized inside there.
Take a bite.
So we're trying to just break it all down and get it out of there so we can actually put new grease in there. Because look, it's still stuck in there.
And over here you can see it a little better. Scrape it off. I mean, you can see how dry it is right there, right?
Grease should not be like this.
Should not be flaky.
Flaky. That's like wax.
It'll be fine.
Send it.
It would have made it to Kentucky.
All right, so John went and grabbed grease. It wasn't the grease we wanted, but it's wheel bearing grease, so high temp wheel bearing grease.
Couldn't find anything else.
That's all we could come up with. So anyways, we got grease. We're gonna repack those bearings. They're all cleaned out. We had to, there was a ton of junk in there, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was gross.
We got them all cleaned out. So at the same time, we were just talking, like, as much as I didn't want to have to take on a new project, it's a good thing we did because it was probably not gonna last very long. Other thing we got is John picked up this, so we got a brake controller because the one that we got from the junkyard didn't work. So we have the wiring, so we'll get this in there as well. But let's get that done and see what else we get into. All right, so wheel bearings are packed full of grease. We're good there. She's back down on the ground. What me and John are messing with right now is these mirrors have turned into speed mirrors. So as soon as you start going down the road, the wind pushes them closed. So they're pretty nice mirrors. They're power and they work, but
They're aerodynamic.
yeah, they close on you when you're going down the road. So apparently there's some sort of spring with a nut or something or other in here, and we're gonna see if we can get to it underneath here to put more tension on them. Hopefully we're successful, but underneath here there's like these 2 torque screws that hold apparently the cap on. It's right here. So we're gonna take those out. I don't know if there's more than 2, but I know there's at least 2 torque screws in here that hold the cap on, and we'll show you guys what we come up with. Also, John wired up our brake controller here, but we want to double check it. We might actually hook it to a trailer because it comes on, like when you push this, the brake light comes on. Hopefully you guys can see there. Brake light comes on when you just apply the brakes here, but when we put a multimeter on the back, you don't get the full voltage at the back. And I don't know if that's because there's just no trailer on it or what. Even when we have the key and run and everything and try stepping on the brakes, we're not getting full voltage, but it might just be because it knows. This is apparently the problem, you guys, is see these screws? It's like a plate that basically squishes that bushing in there.
Oh, you can see it's worn out.
You can see this one has completely come out and that one came out. So essentially what you do is either get that to grab or put a fatter screw to clamp down on that, and then we should be back in the business. So this came out. This is 3 torque screws that are hidden underneath this rubber gasket. And then now we gotta cinch this down and then we should have good mirrors again. Okay, so what we did is took out these screws, and you know, like the typical screws that you would see on your holding your license plate on, we sent those guys with the coarse thread in there, and now this thing is like rock solid. So I think we're good there, but so essentially these guys just stripped out of the plastic. So we still gotta do the other side, but I'll show you guys how loosey-goosey that side is, but I think this one might be fixed just like that. All right, so it's the next day and our mirrors are good. So now we don't have the speed mirrors anymore. So we fixed those. That's gonna be good. What I'm messing with right now, something that's been bothering me for a while, but I just have not had a chance to mess with it amongst everything else we've been doing. So what I'm trying to accomplish here, you'll see this jack underneath here. This thing has really, really old Beltec springs. I believe they're Beltec, I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty sure they are, but they're lowering springs in the front. And if you guys remember, we got really good condition rear leaf springs. They looked mint when I picked them up from the junkyard. They both had, you know, good arch, everything was good there. But for some reason, this thing had a really bad lean to the driver's side. So if you look right now, she's sitting pretty dang level. And what I just did was I lifted up this driver front wheel. It might even be off the ground. Yeah, it's literally off the ground. So I had to jack this up that much to get the front of the truck level. When I got the front of the truck level, the back all of a sudden looks good now. So obviously I can't add spring to it, but it looks like the driver's side front coil has compressed somehow. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to offset that. Again, this is super temporarily, but I'm going to shorten this spring or just take a little portion of it so that I can get this thing to sit flat, because right now it's going down the road like this and we're gonna be towing with this, and I really don't wanna just add to all that going down the road. So I'm gonna see if I can adjust it a bit. Again, I've had to jack up this side. As you can see, the wheel is almost off the ground that much just to get this thing to sit level. And again, if I go ahead and lower this, watch. So now we're lowered. I don't know if you guys can see it visually. It's like this. You can really see it from the back. So if I go over here, hopefully it shows up on camera. This thing is like that. So let me see if I can adjust it. Hopefully it won't take too much finagling. I'm gonna have to probably put that front passenger spring in and out a few times as I make some small adjustments, but the gap here between that front fender is different than over here. So we got significantly more clearance here. So let me make some adjustments. And check this out, you guys. Pretty much 32 and a half. If I go over to this side, it's almost an inch higher over here. Look at that. It's just about 33, well, pretty much bang on the mark. 33 and a half, so in the center of the wheel. Yeah, so she's an inch higher on this front passenger side. Okay guys, I think I actually found the problem. Again, not like I did anything. This thing has been together for a million years by somebody else, but you can see here Beltec 4752D. There's a D right there. And this is off the passenger side. And I just went to Beltec's instructions here. D is for driver, P is for passenger. So go figure. So there actually is a compensation in these springs for driver and passenger, and it appears that they are reversed. So if I put this spring over there, I think we should get our level back. Jonathan's getting the last few lug nuts tight there. And moment of truth.
Drop it.
Yes, sir. I think we almost have to close the hood for this test. Oh yeah, it's level now. I can already tell from the back. Let's see.
From the back, you can see it a lot.
So here's from the back. I don't know, what do you think? Better?
It honestly looks pretty good. It does look a little bit, but it's 99% there.
Maybe it's just the bumper.
Oh, the bumper.
Needs to settle, that's all.
Yeah, it's driving around.
Oh, dude, it's way better.
Yeah.
A million times better for sure. We can take some measurements, but I'm happy with that improvement at least. Okay, so the front end it's still 1/4 inch higher on this, but again, we're dealing with who knows how old springs. We are gonna get some newer lowering springs on here later, but yeah, definitely way better. All right, John's over here. We've got our headliner that we stripped before. So, or the board, I guess it's called the headliner board. And then we got this brand new fabric. So we're gonna get this on. We got our 3M, what is it, 3M headliner? Headliner, specifically headliner. So you guys can't roast us in the comments. You're not using the right stuff, John. All right, well, check it out, you guys. So we've got a nice fresh headliner here. So let's go ahead. We're gonna pull this back a bit. That way we can open the doors properly, get the headliner in, get all the interior trim back in. Because right now we've got brand new seats. If you guys haven't seen the interior in this in a little while, we've got brand new seats. We redid the carpet, redid the dash, but we don't have headliner. And some of our panels are out, A-pillar one as well. So, and our door sills. So let's do it. Okay, you guys, check that out. Headliner is brand new, looking really good. Jonathan went ahead and put in brand new LEDs. If you guys need LEDs, I'll link him as well. So John's the master with these LEDs lately. He sells all sorts of kits for different vehicles, especially Jeeps. Maybe at some point we could probably rewrap these or try to clean them because they're a little dirty looking, but hey, she's looking pretty dang good. But we're also messing with some of the, you know, paneling and stuff over there. Since we got rid of the shifter stock, we ended up finding at the junkyard one of these that doesn't have the shifter stock in it. So you can see there, that's where it would normally go. But this one closes it off. And then we got the new one there. And then we're also just finalizing some wiring. I'm trying to do some last minute trick stuff that I've been wanting to do for a while, but just haven't had time. Shop is an absolute disaster. So check out what I'm messing with. So this is the switch, the factory switch here. Cruise, Excel, Coast. And what I am messing with is there's little resistors in here. Essentially, if I can get these contacts to work with just open and close, I am gonna bypass the resistors so it gives me open and closed contacts. And then, I don't want to spoil it, but I might have upshift, downshift buttons and maybe a sport track button. So that's kind of my goal. Let me see if I can make it work. All right, so I'm still working on the buttons, but I actually jumped over to this. I'm actually working on an intake with a filter because we just had this Velocity stack with this clear tube that everybody likes to joke about. So anyways, we're getting the Flowmaster Delta Force U-Fit kit. So this is, you can make your own intake. They have a bunch of piping and sections. You just cut it with whatever elbows you want. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that in there, mount it so it's not flopping around, and we'll have an intake. Okay, so we ran to the junkyard real quick to get a couple front shocks. Those ones look pretty dang mint, so we're gonna unbolt those guys. Okay, so the bolts on those yellow shocks were seized, so we took these off a long time ago when we came for the complete front end. It was a really nice looking second gen. These are Chrysler units, but we got them, so we also got some brackets for the Jeep as well. Okay, it's the next day. Last minute things before we load up, boys. John, what are you doing down there? Sleeping, hanging around.
Yeah, ain't doing nothing.
So the shocks that we got from the junkyard, John's throwing those in because that one was absolutely blown. And this thing is pretty much ready to go. We'll probably take it for a quick little spin because we've got the whole interior. Dennis came by and we got it all put back together. So we actually set up some of the buttons too. So if all goes as planned, this should be upshift, this should be downshift, and then we also have another button for track mode on this thing on the 8-speed. So headliner's in, interior's all in. We didn't figure out a stereo. For now, we're just gonna temporarily wire up a stereo so John has music on the way. But other than that, this one's ready to go. And also, I'm doing a separate video on the Jeep just because there's so much stuff on the Jeep and so much on this to get ready for the show. Hey, what do you think, John?
This thing's pretty sick, dude. It actually rips.
Show them the little buttons work.
Okay, so this one.
So that's downshift.
Oh, it doesn't want to downshift
It
right
will.
now.
It's just because you're slowing down as you're downshifting.
Okay. So let's see. So now, upshift.
There you
I'm not going fast enough for the pops. So.
You gotta go give her a little more steam. All right, check this out, you guys. So it is almost midnight. Everything is loaded up. So Hellcat Ram is towing Hellcat Dakota. So Hellcota towed by Hell Ram over here. We've got our Comanche LS Swap Turbo, and it's being towed by the SST. So we are all geared up and ready to go, you guys. All right, guys, so I'm gonna end this video here. Super tired, super exhausted, and we gotta wake up first thing in the morning and drive all the way to Bowling Green, Kentucky for LS Fest and for Mo Party. So we'll be there in a huge Boosted Motorsports tent. You can't miss us. If you see us, if you come by, definitely say hello. Come check out the builds. We got a bunch of merch there for you guys. So definitely come by if you are able to. It's gonna be a crazy event. I'm super tired, honestly, but it's gonna be well worth it once we get there because I'm super excited to check out LS Fest for the first time because that event is apparently huge, and then also Mo Party's following the week after. So super excited, but I am also very tired at the same time, so I can't wait to just get there, hopefully relax a little bit, take it all in, and yeah, it'll be fun once you get there, but right now I'm just done. So anyways, if you guys enjoyed this whole series, I'm going to document the way there and everything while we're at LS Fest and Mo Party as well. So give this a thumbs up. We'll keep you posted on how everything tows, all that stuff. And we'll see you guys on the next video.